Sayın hocalarım, değerli katılımcılar, Nizamiye Medreselerinden Günümüze, İslam Dünyasında Felsefe ve Kelam, Uluslararası Sempozyumunun ikinci bölümünde tekrar bir aradayız. Hoş geldiniz. Vakit kaybetmeden günün ilk sempozyumunun 5. oturumda programa başlamak istiyoruz. Bu oturumun başkanlığını Profesör Doktor Bilal Kuşpınar hocamız yapacaktır. Oturumun konuşmacıları Mykhaylo Yakubovych, kendisi çevrimiçi olarak bağlanacak. Profesör Doktor Fatma Zahra Paktabaroğlu, Rayane Boussad, Hoda Al Khouly. Buyurun hocam.
Öncelikle hepinizi Allah'ın selamıyla selamlıyorum. I will greet you all with peace. First of all, let me express my gratitude to the organizing committee for this wonderful event. I think we have been enjoying and benefiting from one another. Today is the Friday, the first session, and I have the pleasure of four distinguished speakers and representing from various institutions. I would like to go straight to the panelists. We have an online presentation. He's participating from Ukraine, Professor Mykhaylo Yakubovych, who will talk about Islamic rationalism in the early post-classical Medreses curriculum, the case of Crimea. And he has been specialized in Quranic studies, and he has translated the Quran in Crimea and Ukrainian languages, and he's still very much engaged in pursuing also philosophical studies in his own context. So without any further ado, please, microphone is with you, Professor Mykhaylo Yakubovych. You have, because of the time constraint, we started late, but I think you are participating from far, and we give you 20 minutes.
Thank you so much. Good morning to everyone. Sorry for not being with you today. Just attending online, and I'm starting my talk. I will share my presentation also, which is related to the Islamic philosophy in Medrese curriculum in post-classical period, especially in Crimea. Can you see my presentation now? Yes. Okay, so one more time, good morning to everyone. I wish you a productive day for this important event happening. And my topic is related to Islamic rationalism, early post-classical Madrasa curriculum, the case of Crimea. So starting from the geographical measures of my study, we see that a nice place in the northern part of the Black Sea, Crimean Khanate, with Bakhchisarai as a capital of Crimean Khanate after actually the beginning of 16th century, after Mengli-Giray. But honestly, talking intellectually, not political, there are developments in madrasa, developments in many various branches of Islamic knowledge, starting from Sufi tariqah and ending with study of logic or metaphysics or whatever. So I was closely related to the Ottoman Empire. So usually we actually denote Crimean Khanate as a part of, as a tributary state to the Ottoman Empire. But after especially after 1475. But in some way we have more independent developments, but in general, usually the Turkish scholar also that relate everything happening in Crimea to the Ottoman intellectual context. So when I'm talking about Crimean scholars, it means they were from Crimea as from the peninsula or from the Crimean Khanate, because, for example, the southern part, like Kaffa, was a Timar of the Ottoman Empire, and when we are talking about scholars coming from Kaffa, they were actually the Ottomans here. So when we are talking about people coming from the north, from the Dasht-e-Kipchak, from the Nogai steppe, sometimes they are described in another way. or the people coming to Istanbul from those parts were usually addressed as Tatar, like we have Ibrahim al-Karimi, Tatar Sheikh, the people coming from Nohais there, but not going into all this ethnic, tribal, political discussion, just talking about the Crimea mostly in the Ottoman context. And before the Ottoman Empire, of course, there was a very strong presence of Central Asian influences. So I'm starting from the literature available on that. We have very nice work, this Kırım Mullifirleri by Mehmet Bursali, Crimean authors. This is one of the first book written in the time of Ottoman Empire changing into Republican Turkey. And we have, say, İdara Osmaniye, so the Ottoman administration time when the Crimea was a part of the Ottoman Empire and then annexed by Russia in 1783. So he was one of the first scholars who actually started to study Crimea independently, meaning that there was a peninsula with its own tradition, own Medrese. The Crimean Khans who donated big money to establish some Medrese. And for example, one of them is well known as Zincirli Medrese or Mengli Giray Medrese, established in 1500 by Crimean Khan Mengli Giray. So just imagine that Medrese was operational until 1924. So that was around 424 years for this Medrese. Of course, in the Soviet times, it was converted into what's called the Institute for the Teachers, and many notable persons were related to this important institution, like Ismail Gaspirali or Ismail Gasprinsky, the publisher of a newspaper Tercüman and a big enlightener of Crimean Tatar people, and also a movement, the one who is associated with Jalidi movement. But I'm talking about earlier period, and in early period we have some interesting documents also related to the library of Crimean Khans. For example, that is the Zincirli Medrese. You see, this is a stamp in Russian language, Zincirli Medrese, in the time of the Crimea being annexed by the Russian Empire. And from the right side, we see Said Giray Khan with Tamgade, actually, the symbol of the Crimean Khans, and now the symbol of the Crimean Tatar people. So there are many documents with such special stamps, of course, because of being a part of the libraries and being a part of the Medrese or being a part of the courts, actually belonging to the Crimean Khans. This is a stamp from one medical work written in the beginning of 16th century for Mengli Giray. But also the point is that this Medrese has been called as Mengli Giray Medrese during the times of Crimean Khanate. Medrese, because there was, you see, an entrance, a typical actually
one document talking about the differences in reading of some philosophical issues between Ahmad Al Khouly and Mullah Khosrow, and there are some interesting stories from the times of Kashkapi Zahra and other Ottoman biographers who say that they were like competing each other in some points. So this is the work where he tried to make a joint position of the Ibn Arabi school at Beria and Maturidid theology, like making Ibn Arabi school more canonical, because we know about the discussions about the legacy of Ibn Arabi in the Ottoman Empire, later well known in Shihzada Fatwa against Ibn Arabi, and actually before that, even in 15th century, he tried like to make a joint group for Ibn Sina ontology, talking about the division of Wujud, believing in Ibn Arabi idea of Wahdat al-Wujud, how it has been called by his later followers, and of course the Maturidi theology. So this very interesting document is related both to the Sufi, the Tariqas, and Madrasa. Later, what's also interesting, and I will go back to those curriculum, we have an interesting work written in 16th century by Mahmoud Kafawi, the one coming from Kafa, Qatarab Alam al-Akhyar, like the best, the lectures or the best scholars from the Hanafi.
Interestingly, he starts Hanafi the Prophet Adam, and there was a first Hanafi scholar in his point, but later he also mentions a couple of Crimean scholars, and what's really interesting that we have a very important and ijaza actually, I will tell you about that later, and ijaza issue actually even before the schools of Golden Fort had been converted in somewhat independent state or tributary state of the Ottoman Empire. So this work is very popular. This work is very popular now, and mostly when people address the biographies of some scholars from 15th, 16th, 17th century, they refer to it. Of course, he took many stuff from Tashkopriza, their biography and so on, but generally there are some very unique biographies. The scholars, you will find the biographies only here. This is from the manuscript, actually a text of Ijaza for those who are able to read in Arabic. You see in the upper part of this manuscript was a surah, where it's starting from the word surah, meaning some descriptions of the image. This is a Ijaza given by the well-known Golden Old scholar Ibn al-Bazzaz to someone called Ahmad al-Kirimi, the Ahmad al-Kirimi I referred to, from Haji Dhaka, originally, like he was from Taji Khakan. But this was another Ahmad Kirimi, not the one, because there are a couple of names called Ahmad Kirimi at that time, but at least we see it's not important actually who was his student, but the list of the books provided as the list of the subjects. He was teaching in the Medrese in Eski Kırım, Solhat. It's not far from Bakhchisaray, the main city of Crimean Khanate. And among the books, we see, of course, many books like Burhan ad-Din al-Marghirani, Kitab al-Hidayah, many fiqh books. Actually, the books related to Hanafis and a couple of related to Shafi'i fiqh. But what's really interesting is Risala fi Ilm al-Kalam by Al-Habbazi. It's not a very well-known document, but I discovered a copy in Saudi Arabia. And this is a very interesting work, mostly also addressing some issues like Ibn Sina ontology, talking about division of being, and so on. Also using Al-Ghazali legacy. So this Al-Habbazi was a scholar who also has been living in Central Asia, and these traditions of Central Asian scholarship came to Crimea because of the migration of scholars. For example, in 1347, when the pandemic of plague happened, So many scholars left Central Asia, left Persia, and they came to Crimea. We have that story, and there were chains of transmissions assigned like with the roots in Central Asian times. So we have also a theological or philosophical learning, because when we are talking about Kelam, it's really hard to define it only as theology. It can be philosophy, it can be anything intellectual related to the reflection of the human over the nature and sacred text. I like the term discursive theology, for example, used by Yahya Mishot in his translation. So we have this Risala fi Ilmul Kalam by Al-Habbazi. So later we have also some interesting scholars also who were teaching in Medrese, like Abul Bakr al-Kafawi, Kitab al-Kulliyat. Probably this is the most important work ever written in Crimea, a dictionary of philosophical terms. This is one of the editions published in 19th century in Tehran. It was also published in Istanbul at that time, and there are a couple of modern editions for that work. Kitab al-Kulliyat, for example, by Dar al-Risala in Dimashq, and so on. So it contains many philosophical terms. So I think that now we used to talk about the indexal citations in science, like talking about impact and so on. So he had the highest impact of all the Crimean scholars. If there would be something like a list of references to that work, even now we see many studies talking about lexicology, talking about the tradition of definitions development in Islam, and also he was a teacher in Medrese, closely related to the Ottoman vizier Mustafa Pasha, actually the one who was beheaded by Sultan because of the failure of the seizure of the Vienna in 1683. So we have also, just for the lack of time, I will switch a little bit. There are most notable authorities coming from Crimea and actually teaching in Madrasa. We have Sharaf bin Kamal ad-Din al-Karimi, also a student of Ibn al-Bazzaz, Ahmad al-Karimi, Ibrahim al-Karimi, a very big Sufi sheikh from Khalvetiya Tariqa, Abul Bakr al-Kafawi, and of course Muhammad al-Kafawi, who is sometimes mixed with Muhammad al-Akirmani, but they are different scholars. Muhammad al-Kafawi died in 1745, being a Qadi of Quds, of Jerusalem. So I'm coming to the end soon because of the lack of time, and I've tried to reconstruct a list of the Medrese, actually. The Crimean Medrese. So at least we see that in Medrese, because of some documents, because of some manuscripts preserved, we know still very little about the Islamic education in Crimea, unfortunately. Why? Because many documents were actually destroyed during the first Russian annexation of Crimea, and they are same way unavailable now for the scholars. Because if you want to visit some manuscripts collection in Bakhchisarai and so on, there are many political issues over there, and also the problem is that after the mass deportation of Crimean Tatars of 1944, most of this legacy has been actually lost, unfortunately. So sometimes I'm asked, why do most of the Crimean scholars then settled in Anatolia or in Syria or in Egypt, as they were not living in Crimea until the very end? Because we know the scholars only from the documents preserved. The documents inside the Crimea were mostly destroyed and not really available. Those who emigrated from Crimea, they escaped actually. That's why we have so many Crimean manuscripts in Turkey, like in Suleymaniye Library, in Egypt, in Dar al-Kutub al-Masriya, and other parts of the Muslim world and the West, of course. So we have now, I try to make this as a list of known Medrese. Of course, Liya Çelebi speaks about, I think, 27 Medrese in the 17th century, but that's a Medrese where I actually seen some works related to philosophy, related to Kalam, related to Usul ad-Din. So we have a logical treatises in this Medrese. and in Hungary, in Library of Academy of Sciences in Budapest, we have a couple of treatises written in some Jalayar Medrese. We don't know where this Jalayar was placed. We don't know that this village has been lost in history, but at least we have some logical treatises written here. We have Mangit Mangut, we have Kadikoy located not far from Simferopol, and of course in Jalea of Mengligirai Medrese. A couple of manuscripts mostly commenting over Usul al-Fiqh issues. A couple of those things were preserved in Kyiv, in National Library of Ukraine, and we have many of them belong to some Wahhab Effendi Medrese. So this also was a part of the Crimea Medrese system, but unfortunately destroyed. In Kefe, of course, there was not the only Medrese. There were 5 up to 10 Medrese in Kefe, but unfortunately, it's also really hard to say about it. The only thing we have is that we have a manuscript somewhat related to those madrasas, the scholars working here, and that really some rational sciences like Ilmul Kalam, like others, were a part of the madrasa curriculum, especially because of the Ibn al-Bazaz's chain of transmissions, and later the people were coming from the Anatolia to from Crimea to Anatolia, bringing those traditions and sometimes reproducing works. So there is a very short conclusion of my work, and you see that there are still big necessary in research over all that. At least I want to have a digital map of all those madrasas, the subjects taught here, and I'm working over that project. Hopefully it will come to some website or somewhat describing all this stuff. So at least we have now some materials working with, and it can be said that in Crimea also rational sciences like logic, metaphysics, Kelam were a part of the Medrese curriculum, with a special accent on the traditions coming from Central Asia, coming from Central Asia, and then with a migration of the scholar coming also to Anatolia. So I usually say that just at the very end of my presentation, that the Crimea was a part of the intellectual hub for the scholars who were coming from Central Asia in the Golden Horde time, developing their traditions here, and then coming to Anatolia. So we can trace some interesting biographies, and also there are many points of connections, many ijazas. This was one of the earliest one, but we have later one, of course, then ending in many places in the Islamic world, from Indonesia to the Jazair, to Algeria, actually, where we can find the traces of the Crimean scholars graduated, or the students of those who were graduated from Crimean Madrasa. Thank you so much for your attention, and I wish you a really productive day for that conference. Thank you.
We thank Professor Mykhaylo Yakubovych for his informative and insightful presentation on Islamic intellectual history within the context of Crimea. Şimdi ikinci panelistimize geçiyoruz. Kıymetli hocamız Fatma Zehra Patabanoğlu, sunumu Razi sonrası felsefe kelam çizgisinde Tanrı anlayışının ele alınması İbn Kemune örneği. Kemune örneği. Hocam siz de zaman zaten biliyorsunuz. Ya kapatayım ha. Oradan açıyorsun.
Tamam. Nasıl? Muhterem Hazırın, hepinizi sevgi ve saygıyla selamlıyorum. Öncelikle bu organizasyonu hazırlayan İPSE, Avrupa Felsefe Çalışmaları Enstitüsü'ne, İSAM'a, Uludağ Üniversitesi'ne, Medar Araştırmaları Merkezi'ne ve Mahya Yayınları'na çok teşekkür ediyorum. Özellikle de Bekir Hocam şimdi yok, ona da teşekkür ediyorum. Bekir Hocam benim yüksek lisans ve doktoradan danışmanım. İlk hangi konuyu çalışacağımızı kendi aramızda konuştuğumuzda hoca bana İbn Kemune hakkında bir çalışma yapmamı söylemişti. Bu süreçte ben de doktora tezimde İbn Kemune'yi çalıştım. Bugün de burada İbn Kemune hakkında bir sunum yaparsan sevinirim demişti. Hoca dün ben dinleyemeyeceğim, yerini değiştir dediğinde o kadar çok değişiklik yapılmış ki bunun mümkün olamayacağı söylenildi. Hocam artık bilahare bunu izleme fırsatı bulur diye düşünüyorum. Konum Razi sonrası felsefe kelam çizgisinde Tanrı anlayışının ele alınması, İbn Kemune örneği. Burada özellikle Razi sonrası meselesini ele almadaki en önemli nedenim 12. yüzyıldan sonra felsefe ve kelamda, hatta genel olarak İslam düşüncesinde nasıl bir değişim, dönüşüm gerçekleştirildi ve İbn Kemune de 1284 ölüm tarihi, Bağdatlı, Yahudi asıllı bir filozof. Yahudi asıllı olmasına rağmen İslam coğrafyasında felsefe etkinliğinde bulunmuş, İbn Sina'nın ve Sühreverdi'nin eserlerine şerhler yapmış, pek çok filozoftan, işte Gazali'den, Fahrettin Razi'den, Tusi'den etkilenmiş ve kendisinden sonra da ve yazışmalarda bulunmuş. Mesela işte İbn-i Füvati, Tusi, Necmettin Katibi gibi pek çok kişiyle yazışmış. Kendisinden sonra da Kutbuddin Şirazi gibi, işte Şehrazuri gibi ve daha sonraki dönemde pek çok alanda etkilenildiği kişilere örnek olmuş diyelim. Bir giriş mahiyetinde hemen şu ifadelere yer vermek istiyorum. İslam coğrafyasında 7. ve 13. yüzyıllar bilim ve düşünce tarihinin en canlı örneklerinin sunulduğu dönemler. Bu dönemde Moğol istilasından önce kısa zamanda geniş bir coğrafyaya hizmet veren Nizamiye medreseleri eğitimin kurumsallaşması yönünde büyük bir adım olmuştur. Nizamiye medrese müfredatında tabi bununla ilgili çok şey konuşulabilir ama ben böyle çok kısa bir giriş olması mahiyetinde bilgiler vermeye çalıştım. İşte Şafii fıkhı, Kur'an, hadis, tefsir, kelam, cedel, hilaf, usul, akaid, faraiz, mezhep, lügat ve nahiv gibi dini ilimler yer almıştır. Astronomi, fizik, tıp, matematik gibi akli ilimlere dair kayıtlar da daha çok müellifler tarafından medrese kütüphanelerinde bulunan eserlerle sınırlı kalmıştır. Tabii bizim asıl konumuz süreç içinde felsefe kelam alanında elbette önemli gelişmeler meydana gelmiştir. Eş'ariler ile Mu'tezile'nin hitabete dayanan diyalektiği yerine Gazali'nin Aristoteles mantığını ve metodolojisini kelamın hizmetine sunmasıyla kelam farklı bir ivme kazanmıştır. Fahrettin Razi ile Eş'ari kelamı felsefileşerek mantık, metafizik ve ahlaka dayanan sistematik bir bilgi haline gelmiştir. Onun Esrarül Mektum, Muassal, Kitabül Erbain, Mülahhas, Camil Ulum adlı eserleri bu açıdan önemlidir. Razi Mebahüsül Meşrikiye adlı eserinde de özellikle felsefe alanında kelam yapan bir filozof kelamcı iken El Muhassal'da kelamda felsefe yapan bir kelamcı gibi görünmektedir. Mefatihul Gayb adlı tefsirinde kelami, felsefi ve dini konuları bir araya getirmiştir. Böylece Razi tasnif ve yapı arasında olduğu gibi konu ve muhteva açısından da kelam ve felsefe arasındaki köprüleri kurmuştur. Tabii bu iki sistemi birleştirmek Abdurrahman el-İci tarafından gerçekleştirilmiştir. Bu konuya dair dün biliyorsunuz biraz böyle sıcak tartışmalar oldu. Özellikle işte Eşref hocamız, Gürbüz hoca ve biraz daha farklı bir şekilde Bekir hocanın yaptığı yorumların bence burada yeniden ele alınıp tartışılması gerekiyor diye düşünüyorum. Belki programın sonunda buna dair tartışmalar yapılır. Razi hem kelam felsefe ilişkisini konu, mesele ve yöntem birliği bakımından tesis ederek filozofların görüşlerinin ayrıntılı olarak kelam kitaplarına taşımış, hem de İbn Sina felsefesinin benzersiz eleştirel bir okumasını yaparak kendisinden sonraki düşünce sistemlerini etkilemiştir. Tabii bu açıdan İbn Sina felsefesi önemli ölçüde Razi okumalarının etkisi altındadır ve onun öğrencilerinin eserleriyle devam etmiştir. Burada tabii bizim için artık önemli olan kısma geçiyoruz. İbn Kukkonen bundan sonraki süreçte bu çizginin neresinde yer alıyor? İbn Kukkonen Razi sonrası İbn Sina çizgisinde yer alan düşünürlerden birisi. Konuşmanın başında da söylediğim üzere. Onun özellikle Necmettin Katibi'nin Razi'nin Kitab-ül Meallim adlı eserine yaptığı talikata dair yorumlar ve bazı sorulara verilen cevaplardan oluşan bir eseri bulunmakta. Kendisi de eserlerinde meşayi filozof İbn Sina'nın kısmen de Sühreverdi'nin etkisi olmakla beraber Razi sonrası düşüncenin izlerini onda görüyoruz. Çünkü felsefe bilginin kümülatif yapısından dolayı biz özellikle sonuca doğru geldiğimde de bunun farkına varacağız. İbn Kukkonen daha çok İbn Sina'dan edindiği, Sühreverdi'den edindiği, işte Tusi'den, yeri geldiğinde Razi'den edindiği bilgileri kendi süzgecinden geçirerek bir felsefe oluşturmaya çalışıyor. Kendine uygun olan meseleleri konularına göre almaya çalışıyor. Dolayısıyla metafizik alanında mesela İbn Sina'nın büyük etkisi altında. Onun tamamen sudurcu anlayışını yansıttığını görüyoruz. Ama işte mesela bir ahlak alanına girildiğinde daha tasavvufi bir renke büründüğünü, dolayısıyla da Sührever'den daha çok etkilendiğini görüyoruz. Ya da mesela bir cisim anlayışına baktığımızda İşraki iz taşı, çünkü niye bunu söylüyorum? Genellikle pek çok çalışmada İbn Kukkonen işraki filozof olarak lanse ediliyor ama onun bağımsız eseri El Cedid fil Hikme okunduğunda işraki renge dair ipucu bulamıyoruz. Ama birkaç noktada Sühreverdi'yi takip ettiğini, dediğim gibi kendisine uygun gelen kısımları tercih ettiğini anlıyoruz. Burada Razi'den sonraki gelenekte özellikle umuru amme geleneği içerisinde bu eserini kaleme aldığını görüyoruz. Çünkü kitabın hemen giriş kısmı metafiziksel genel kavramlar bazında umuru amme kavramlarını ele alıyor. Burada varlık, yokluk, cevher, araz, birlik, çokluk gibi pek çok felsefi kavramları değerlendirdikten sonra ilahiyat bahsine geçiyor. O yüzden kendi döneminde bu şekilde alınan kelam kitaplarıyla da uyum içerisinde olduğunu söyleyebiliriz. Tanrı anlayışında özellikle ilk önce varlığın ne olduğunu anlatmaya çalışıyor. Hatta Tanrı konusunun ilimlerin içerisinde nasıl değerlendirileceğini vermeye çalışıyor. Dolayısıyla ona göre ilimlerin temeli ilk gerçeğin bilgisi, onun birliği ve sıfatlarıdır. Bu açıdan ilimde öncelik Tanrı'nın varlığı konusu olmalıdır. Varlık kavramı apaçık olup insan zihninin delile ihtiyaç duymaksızın algılayabileceği ilk tasavvurlardandır. Varlık zorunlu varlığın ilk sıfatıdır. Onun dışındakilere mecazen söylenir. Şimdi bu ifadeleri biz Gazali'nin eserlerinde de görüyoruz. Ya da Razi'nin ya da İbn Sina'nın eserlerinde de görüyoruz. Zorunlu varlığın sıfatları zatına ilave edilmiş değildir. Dolayısıyla onun için bir çokluk teşkil etmezler. Onun sıfatları yarattıklarına benzemez ve diğerleriyle bir ortaklık söz konusu değildir. Tabii Tanrı ile ilgili öncelik eserde ispatı vaciple başlıyor ve bununla ilgili 10 tane ispat kuramı veriyor. Sonra Tanrı'nın birliği ile ilgili akli delillerini sunuyor. Sonra Tanrı'nın sıfatlarıyla ilgili ve onun tenzihiyle, sıfatların tenzihiyle ilgili bilgileri sunuyor. Bunları yaparken mutlaka akli delillere yer verirken daha çok felsefenin delillerinden faydalandığını, mesela kelamın hudus delilini kullanmadığını görüyoruz. Dolayısıyla bu bağlamda daha çok imkan delilini değerlendirdiğini, sebep illet deliline, illet malul deliline başvurduğunu görüyoruz. Ya da bununla ilgili tümeltikel kavramlarına ya da evren düzeninden yola çıkarak Tanrı'nın varlığını ispatlamaya çalıştığını görüyoruz. Yapmaya çalıştığı şey tıpkı Farabi ve İbn Sina'da olduğu gibi öncelikle varlık sınıflamasında zorunlu ve mümkün varlıkları kavramlarını anlatıyor. Sonra zati ve arazi ayrımına gittikten sonra akli itibarların harici mahiyetlere nispet edilmesi bakımından mevcudu, zorunlu, cevher ve araz şeklinde üçe ayırıyor. Kendisi de özellikle sunumda da verdiğim kısmı El-Cedid fil Hikme'de aynen bu şekilde aktarıyor ve yapmaya çalıştığı şey işte lizatihi ve bizatihi mevcut dediği zorunlu varlık, lizatihi la bizatihi mevcut dediği varlık cevher, la lizatihi la bizatihi dediği varlık da araz olarak karşımıza çıkıyor. Ancak daha sonra cevherle ilgili tanımlarına baktığımızda İbn Kukkonen'in farklı yorumlar içerisinde bulunduğunu da görüyoruz. Ona biraz sonra yer vereceğim mahiyet ve varlık ayrımında. Zorunlu ve mümkün ayrımında zorunlu varlığı da kendi içerisinde zatından dolayı ve başkasından dolayı zorunlu varlık şeklinde ikiye ayırıyor ve zatından dolayı zorunlu varlık yani Tanrı gerçek birdir ve kainattaki her şeyin yaratıcısı ve yöneticisidir. Her hadisin bir mucide muhtaç olması sebebiyle zorunlu varlığın ezeliliği ve her hadisin varlığını yokluğunu tercih edecek bir mürecceh ihtiyaç duymasından dolayı da ebediliği zorunludur. El-evvel, el-ahir, el-zahir ve el-batındır. İbn Kukkonen'e göre cisimlere arazlar iliştiği için zorunlu varlık ne cisimdir ne de cisimle alakalıdır. Varlığı duyulur cisme taluk eden her şey zorunlunun takdiridir. Her duyulur cisim niceliksel olarak manevi bölünmeyle heyula ve surete bölünerek çoğalır. Dolayısıyla duyulur cisim ve onunla alakalı her şey nedenlidir. Suret ve madde birbirine ihtiyaç duyduğu için zorunlu varlık ne suretin ne de maddenin benzeridir. Cisim olmadığı için mekanı ve yönü de yoktur. Onun varlığı kendisinden dolayı zorunludur. Zorunlu varlığa ne cinste, ne türde, ne fasılda hiçbir şey ortak değildir. Kendi zatıyla ayrı ve başka olduğu için bölünmeye ihtiyaç duymamaktadır. İbn Kukkonen'e göre zorunlu varlıkta mahiyet ve varlık ayrımı söz konusu değildir. Bu İbn Sina'yı takip ederek zorunlu varlıkta varlık ve mahiyet ayrımı olmadığını söylerken mümkün varlıkta mahiyet ve varlık ayrımı söz konusu. Çünkü ona göre dış dünyada bulunduğu zaman mahiyetle kastedilen cevherdir. Bu durumda mahiyet bir mevzuda değildir. Dolayısıyla zorunlu bu manayla cevher değildir der. Ama başka bir pasajda cevheri anlatırken cevheri mutlak ve mukayyet diye ayırır ve orada Tanrı için mutlak cevherdir ifadesine yer verir ve mukayyet dediği cevherler içinde cisim, nefs, ruh ve akıl kavramlarını kullanır. Dolayısıyla bunu yaparken cevherin mutlak ve mukayyet ayrımı bağlamında meseleyi daha farklı bir şekilde değerlendirdiğini görebiliyoruz. Ama mesela Razi'nin ilk eserlerinde zorunlu varlıkta mahiyet ve vücut ayrımı yok iken daha sonraki eserlerinde özellikle İşaret-i Şerhinde hem mümkün varlık hem zorunlu varlıkta mahiyet ve varlık ayrımını kullandığını görüyoruz. Ama en son eseri Muhassal'da ise hem zorunlu hem de mümkün varlık için mahiyet ve vücut ayrımı olmadığını görüyoruz. Yani Razi'de bile bu mahiyet ve vücut ayrımı konusunda farklılıkların söz konusu olduğunu söyleyebiliriz bu alanda. Zorunlu varlık zat ve hakikat bakımından yine İbn Kukkonen'de birdir. Zorunlu varlığa bir şeyin dahil olması düşünülemediği gibi o da hiçbir şeye hulul etmez. Zorunlu varlığın başkasıyla tayin etmesi mümkün değildir. Başkasına muhtaç değildir. Benzeri olmadığı gibi zıttı da yoktur. Onun bedenle de bir alakası bulunmaz. Kudreti en geniş, fiilleri en genel ve en çok olandır. Zorunlu varlığın zatı dolayısıyla yokluğu imkansızdır. Zatında yerleşmiş bir sıfatın olması da imkansızdır. Yani kısaca şöyle diyebiliriz. Zorunlu varlığın cinsi, faslı, niteliği, niceliği, mekanı, zamanı, dengi, ortağı, zıttı, tanımı, varlığını gerektiren kendinden ayrı bir mahiyeti ve burhanı yoktur. Her şey ondandır. Zorunluluk varlığı tam olandır. Çünkü varlığından ve varlığın yetkinliklerinden hiçbir şey noksan değildir. Sıfatlarla ilgili kelamda da biliyorsunuz pek çok tartışma var. İbn-i Kemune burada sıfatları, o çok az kalmış, hızlı bir şekilde bitirmeye çalışayım. Özellikle şu son iki kısımda, yani onun sıfatlarının sırf izafet ve sırf olumsuzlama şeklinde değerlendirilmesi gerektiğini söyler. Tabii ki Tanrı'nın varlığıyla ilgili, bilgisiyle ilgili konuya geldiğimizde İbn-i Kemune, İbn-i Sina gibi düşünür ve burada Tanrı'nın bilgisinin külli ve cüz'i bilgiyi kuşatan bir bilgi olduğunu söyler. Ama burada külli ve cüz'i mevcutların hiçbirisinin onun bilgisinin dışında olmadığını söyleyerek belki de bu Gazali'nin tekfir, İbn-i Sina ve Farabi'yi tekfir etmesi konusuna da açıklık getirmeye çalışır. Değişen tikallerin bilgi zorunlu varlıkta değişim olmaksızın gerçekleşir. Onun bilgisinin infial olması caiz değildir, yani mümkün değildir. Çünkü onun bilgisi tamamen fiilidir. Çünkü yine Farabi ve İbn Sina'da olduğu gibi onun varlığının ve bilgisinin yaratmayla da aynı şey olduğunu kabul eder İbn Kemuni ve bununla ilgili de yine şu verdiğim pasajda da bilgiyi görebiliyoruz. İbn Kemune zorunlu varlığın her şeyi bir defada bildiğini söyler. Çünkü ona göre bilginin, onun ilmi kendisinden bilgilerin sadır olduğu bir anlamdır. Bu da ne demek? Biz İbn Kemune'nin metafiziğinde sudur öğretisini kabul ettiğini görüyoruz. Çünkü el-Ceddi Hikme'nin çok büyük bir kısmı akıllarla ilgilidir ve akılların nasıl sudur ettiğiyle ilgilidir. Dolayısıyla burada Sühreverdi'deki o nur metafiziğini görmüyoruz. Daha sonra inayetine yer verir ve Tanrı'nın inayetinin ve yaptığı şeylerin bir menfaat uğruna yapmadığını, ya bu ifadelerde aynı İbn Sina'nın eserlerinde çok rahatlıkla görebileceğimiz ifadeler ve burada inayetin tanımını da yapıyor. İyilik düzenini zatı gereği bilmesi, mümkün olan iyilik ve yetkinliğin zatı gereği işte sebebi olması, belirtilen tarzda ondan hoşnut olarak mümkün olan en mükemmel şekilde iyilik düzeni ondan taştığını falan anlatarak Tanrı'nın inayetini anlatmaya çalışıyor. Çünkü ona göre bu düzenden daha iyi bir evrenin meydana gelmesi, tasavvur edilmesi mümkün değildir. Hatta bununla ilgili en şerefli imkan ifadesine yer verir. Mümkün olanların en yetkini ve en üstünü bu düzen olduğuna göre bu ifadesiyle de birazcık işte Gazali'ye benzer yaklaşımda bulunduğunu söyleyebiliriz. Sonuç olarak şunları söyleyelim. İbn Kemune ilk mebde bir mükemmel, gani, alim, mürit olan zorunlu varlığı aklı delillere bağlayarak ve buna dayanarak ispatlamaya çalışır. Eşinin ve benzerinin bulunmadığını, birliğine kimsenin ortak olmadığını yine akli delillere bağlayarak açıklamaya çalışır. Tanrı'da varlık ve mahiyet ayrımı olmadığını keza delillendirerek verir. Sıfatlarını tenzih çerçevesinde ele alır. Kozmolojide sudur teorisine dayanan İbn Kemune, Tanrı'nın kıdemi ve iradesi konusunda Tanrı'nın ezeliliği ve iradesi konusuna vurgu yapar. Fahrettin Razi sonrasında devam eden umur-u amme geleneğine göre planlama yaparak varlığı bu şekilde ele alır ve Tanrı anlayışında bu minval üzere konumlandırır. Ele aldığı konu çerçevesinde Razi sonrasında değişen ve dönüşen kavramları sunumun ilk başında söylediğim gibi kendine özgün bir seçme ve eleme süzgecinden geçirerek kullanır diyorum ve çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Kıymetli Fatma Zehra hocama bu güzel İbn Kemune örneği ki Razi sonrası Tanrı anlayışının güzel bir analizini bize sunduğu için çok teşekkür ederim. Zamanında çok kıymetli disiplin halinde kullandı. Efendim zaten bunu inşallah bu makaleler yayınlanacak. O zaman ayrıntıca okuma fırsatımız olur. Şimdi üçüncü panelist, we will call upon the third panelist, Rayane Boussad. Sühreverdi on sufficient reason and plenitude between hikme and kelam.
There is some handout if it is possible to distribute them.
Evet. Sühreverdi'nin hikmet ve kelam ilişkisi bakımında, bağlamında yeter-sebep ve çokluk üzerine, azlık ve çok üzerine düşünceleri veya yeter-sebeplerin düşünceleri. Rayane Boussad, you have also 20 minutes.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I would like to thank all the organizers for the event, and also to say if you have to interrupt me, do not hesitate to do so. So we respect the schedule. Sorry. So my talk will be about Sühreverdi and the notion of sufficient reason and its relation to the principle of plenitude between hikmah and Kelam. So, as many people know, Sühreverdi is an important thinker in the post-Abyssinian tradition, but there are many issues to reconcile the logical part of his philosophy, mainly in Al-Ishraq and his metaphysical part. The first one as being essentialist, the logical part, and many people say that the metaphysics of Sühreverdi, like John Walbridge, for example, is nominalistic. So the point is to say that the notion of sufficient reason and the principle of plenitude is a solution to find crossroad between logics and metaphysics in Sühreverdi's philosophy. I will not have time to talk about the logical part, so I will concentrate myself on the metaphysical part, and it is related to sufficient reason, the principle of plenitude, and the relation between God and evil. So, on sufficient reason as being a logical consequence of the principle of plenitude. As we know, it was Arthur Lovejoy in his book The Great Chain of Beings that was the first to designate the principle of plenitude. We can find previous work and also discussion with his contemporaries about the notion without being named. But here I'm going to concentrate mainly on what he says in page 52 of The Great Chain of Beings. Only on one sentence, because it is the sentence that everyone, when someone is talking about the principle of plenitude, talk about. That is, that no genuine potentiality of being can remain unfulfilled, that the extent and abundance of the creation must be as great as the possibility of existence and commensurate with the produce capacity of a perfect, inexhaustible source, and that the world is better the more things it contains. So, I will not get into the debate that has been going around this notion in contemporary philosophy and so on, but about the relation between plenitude and sufficient reason, Lovejoy tell it explicitly that the first one who is doing the relation for him is Abelard and the Theologia Scholiarum. In the handout you have the quotation if you want to check. Mainly I will not read it because I will not have time to do it, so I will let you read the quotation, and I will just go into the logical part of the assumption between the relation of the principle of plenitude and sufficient reason. So, firstly, what the principle of plenitude say is if X is a possibility, then it has to be necessary. If we rephrase the sentence into another ontological form, we have if X is a possible or a possibility, then it has to be actual or existent. And then if we assume a Neoplatonic or a Platonic perspective, we have, for example, if God is infinitely good, then it has to create or instantiate. The second is existence that are possible, are good in themselves. Then God has to create or instantiate all possible existence. And so, as consequences, we have the meaning that existence is correlated with good and non-existence is correlated with evil. Secondly, we have that infinite goodness of God commanding him to instantiate or create every possible existence. And all of this imply that the principle of plenitude imply in itself the principle of sufficient reason that lead to a necessitarian optimism. And this necessitarian optimism seems to lead to a determinism. And what it means by necessitarian optimism, it means that the world is the best possible one and is striving toward perfection by following the idea of God, by following his perfection, but it will never be attained at full because God's perfection is infinite, but we are striving towards this infinite. In fact, God is the ultimate finality of the world, and in Greek it will be the telos of the world. So one question we could ask is, what is the relation between God and action? So there is many ways to think about action, but firstly I will state something basic that many people know, is that God is described in Sühreverdi's philosophy as being the richness existence in the absolute sense. That means it is absolutely necessary in the essence and attribute, and so when he acts, he doesn't need in any way any rewards for his action. And as to the contrary, if we take, for example, the possible existence that are not rich in the absolute sense because they can acquire new perfection, it is in that sense that their action have reason. We act for certain purposes, like acquiring perfection, new knowledge, or something else. And so if you look into the book Ayak al-Nur, in the page 61-62, in the translation of Fons Vitae, published in Fons Vitae, you have necessary existence, possible existence, and impossible existence. But what he says about possible existence is precisely by using two technical terms in Islamic law, that is tarji and muraji. And these two terms have acquired a metaphysical meaning. So the first one is the act of preference between an actualization and a non-actualization of a possible existence. And the second one is the element that influences the actualization or the non-actualization of such possible existence. And so in fact, you can find here that in some way or another, the principle of sufficient reason is manifest here. Now let's move out to the relation between sufficient reason and being necessary existence and contingent existence. So a cause is what makes necessary an existence, and that means that this necessary existence contains is sufficient reason because it derives from its own essence. So we can say precisely in the paragraph 54 in Al-Ishraq that a necessary existence, like God, has is sufficient reason in itself, in its own essence. And to the contrary, if we take contingent existence, it do not contain its sufficient reason in its own essence. So we can say that this sufficient reason is outside of itself or outside of its own essence. Then it means that sufficient reason for a contingent existence is the presence of the existence of its cause. And that means that contingent existence that has a sufficient reason is being necessary through another. So Now I will move on to the question of whether God's act or is responsible for new illumination, new knowledge. So, who is responsible for illumination? Firstly, illumination makes possible intuition or presence and illuminative knowledge of divine realities. Second, the divine realities permit the constitution of potentialities inside human beings. Thirdly, you have that immaterial light that are divine realities and motion of the celestial sphere are a condition of possibilities of illuminative knowledge and, in last instance, of the knowledge of the reality of God or the Lord of Light. Then, the motion of the celestial sphere are not cause of the existence of being, but they are cause of the potentiality inside those beings. And then, if God is free of all change, that means that the category of motion is not predicable in any way to the necessary existence. Finally, the continuity of motion of the celestial sphere and the cause of individual motion is the infinite love and desire of God's essence that make possible the infinite continuity of celestial motion, but also of the desire of God's essence. I'm going to now move out to the question of different manner in realizing an action. Firstly, Sühreverdi refutes the traditional classification of action to put forward his own classification. And what is important for us here, I will not read everything, is that God is precisely acting through A2, in fact. I didn't change the slide, but God acts through the realization of an act by an agent through the self. And he do not act through will, he do not act through natural causes, he only acts through the self. So I'm going to move out to good and evil in the philosophy of Sühreverdi, and the necessity of evil at a metaphysical level. It is necessary for the generation of corruption, then it is also necessary for the existence of particular, but this presupposed generation and corruption. And then, if you don't have opposition between good and evil, you will not have the internal emanation. I will skip the second point, but the third point is important because there is two possibilities to understand the presence of evil in the universe. You can have a perspective of the presence of evil in the universe as being contextual. That is, for example, there is something that can be evil for myself, for my health, for example, but it will not be evil for you, like allergies, for example. And there is the perspective of evil as being related to the universal arrangement that is, in fact, a good for the universe and for the universal arrangement. I will do some concluding remarks now. So, as we know in paragraph 249 in Al-Ishraq, he defines what he means by evil and misery. Evil and everything that is related to the work of darkness. Evil is also considered as a concomitant of motion. Third, evil is generated through the motion of immaterial light, except God. And fourth, evil is a concomitant of the essence of things, that is, things that have a body. 5, evil is a concomitant of the essence of things, but still remain an accident. It is probably in some way equivalent to a necessary contingent in a scientific proposition. And if we translate it into the logic of Al-Ishraq, we have all man is necessarily contingently good or evil in action, and it does not necessarily actualize this particular action. And to conclude, if we have to state something about freedom or determinism in Sühreverdi, I will say that Sühreverdi is closer to a compatibilism position that is trying to reconcile freedom and determinism, and mostly related to Neoplatonic position. That is, determinism is staying attached to your body or to your barzak, and being free is being detached from the body through acquiring perfection, illumination, potentiality, and so on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Rayane Boussad, for this wonderful presentation on sufficient reason and plenitude between hikmah and kalam in the context of Sühreverdi. I think we'll have some time maybe after the last presentation for question and answers. Yes, Hoda. Yes, I know Hoda Al Khouly. Philosophy for Children in the Islamic World. Panelimizin son konuşması Hoda Al Khouly hanımefendi. İslam dünyasında çocuklar için felsefe. Herhalde İbn Sina örneği galiba. The case of Ibn Sina, the case of Ibn Sina. Is it? Okay.
Sina's model.
Ibn Sina model. Okay. İbn Sina modeli. Tamam.
More? Okay, thank you. So, good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to thank all the sponsors for our event. And I want to mention that my title in the program is not exactly the title of my paper. I don't know what happened, but anyway, this is the exact title of my paper, yes.
Thank you for the correction, because this was...
Because we can't say that we have a B4C or philosophy for children in Islamic world yet. So it was shocking for me in the program. Anyway, what I want to do here today with my paper, of course you can read it after, hopefully, when all our papers will be published. But I try to find some similarities and differences between this movement, philosophy of children, for children, and Ibn Sina. I try. I don't approve anything, and I let it to you. So, as we know, in Islamic Golden Age, education gained exponential importance. And I will skip some because... a curious look at the educational system adopted. Educational system proves that the most important distinguishing feature is not following one single approach. And here I will go to Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina biography reflects the good quality of education, as we know, in Islamic Golden Age. When, at the age of 16, he completed his study of Quran, Islamic law, geometry, philosophy, logic, psychology, medicine, physics, mathematics, and so on. And he practicing already medicine at the age of 18. Ibn Sina had a view on educating children. That's what I try to search and to read about it. So we find that he preferred to teach children from a very young age. And here we find similarity with the movement of philosophy of children. They call to start to teach them 4 to 7 years old. Of course, being a philosopher and a polymath, his views on education are considered vivid example of importance of philosophy for education. Maybe he didn't say that very clear, but we know why, all of us. So, for children before the age of 6 years, this is an important period to learn habits and developing learning and so on. And here we can This is a quote of him in Kitab As-Siyasa when he pushed teacher and take carers to start from a very young year with Quran, of course, and then to learn some of poems and so on. Ibn Sina draws the attention of parents and caretakers to the necessity that the child's wish, what he desired to learn, what he desired to teach. We have to examine that, and it depends, it should be, depends of his character and intelligence and many other things. And here other quote also say that from his book also, Kitab Al-Siyasa. And this very important point, I think we don't do it now, I mean in Arabic world, okay, not in the whole world. To push, to study what match with your character, your intelligence, and so on. So, here in the first part of his book, Al-Qanun fi al-Tibb, the Canon of Medicine, a chapter is devoted to early education and includes an essay titled On Managing Childhood, where Ibn Sina discusses children moral education. And he stresses in physical exercise, to play, learning with playing and so on. And also the value of education in groups, the children teaching better when they are in group, and that's what P4C says now in contemporary philosophy, philosophy for children. You have to teach them in a group with discussion and so on. So what's the role of teacher, according to Ibn Sina, is thus not mere conveyance of confirmation and possession of salbi and many knowledge like that, what we do usually in our Arabic school. Well, but point, the teacher has to point the weakness and directing the students to what knowledge is suitable for them. In other words, the teacher's role is to be the philosopher who investigates and searches for the virtue in the young mind with the purpose of accomplishing the optimum benefit for them and their society. Okay, it's not important. And now let's have a quick look about this P4C, or philosophy for children, and try to get through and what's the differences and similarities, if there are between Ibn Sina and them. So this P4C started as educational movement, as we know, in the United States, 1970. It was meant for children of the age group 4 to 7, very young. It's not some theories of education. You never hear philosophy or philosopher Plato or Aristotle. It's the method, not collecting knowledge. They call in this movement for necessity of introducing philosophy practices to children from 4 to 12 years old, with a program based on teaching reasoning and so on, and skill in the school children. Here is a question that pops up for us, in Islamic world. Is instilling critical thinking in the child's mind a place or a course? Jean Piaget was the one of the first appointed of introducing philosophy in pre-secondary school level. He was against that because we know his theory in cognitive development, that the younger than 12 years of age are incapable of philosophical thinking, abstract, and so on, or in his word, thinking about thinking. However, in the 21st century, a team of psychology scholars sounded the alarm bells over Piaget's cognitive theory. Matthew rejected Piaget's theory and think that children could do that. They could think about abstract philosophical issues and so on. And in his book, Philosophy of Childhood, he make many proofs that children could do that. And there is a very nice, very famous and nice example he gave us when a child, about 6 years old, 6-year-old, asked his father, Tim, his name Tim, Papa, how can we do, how can we be sure that everything is not dream? And it's still philosophical question still now, I think. Maybe we are, everything is real, or we are dreaming. I don't know. I'm not sure. And Matthew, the history of philosophy for children, commence, I'm okay, Mr. President?
Yes,
I have time. Oh, okay.
Very interesting. Go ahead, please.
Matthew Liban, actually, Liban, he is the one of the history of philosophy for children. He's the one who's commenced and designed educational program for children carrying the acronym name P4C, philosophy 444, C, children, okay. It was meant for children of age group 4 to 7. Liban created the philosophy for children program according the interests shown by children themselves. They choose their program and design it in the manner that provides them with pleasure, amusement, even when discussing the most complex and abstract of philosophical concepts. Mankind, justice, equality, good, democracy, time and place, etc. The most important contribution, maybe, of Liban program for P4C is a distinction between thinking and thinking well. Liban program launches the discussion with narrating a myth. We start with myth and who's the protagonist, from protagonisti in Greek. This word is Greek, so it's okay. It's always a child against a backdrop of the problems that face the young hero. He or she way of dealing with them and the solution used. The topic of discussion can start with a poem, a painting, or a myth, creating a motif to discuss a philosophical concept which engage children involvement. A discussion takes place with the teacher, running the scene like a maestro. Teacher should be a maestro of an orchestra without conducting music player, just maestro. Make the discussion go like that. This program excludes from its sphere of interest knowledge acquired through repetition, hoarding up information, and other traditional educational processes, which turn the learner into an unproductive store of data with no participation through rejection or addition. So what's the rule? Here we talk about the role of teacher according to Ibn Sina, and now the role of teacher according to B4C. This requires an active role of teacher as a midwife of ideas, in the words of Socrates. Continuous posing of questions, not imposing a point of view or a final answer which can result in children losing their self-confidence or not being able to reach this one final correct answer. It's problem in teaching. I mean, from my experience in Egypt, the teacher, it's like that. I have the answer and you have to find it. It's just one. And I just love this program. Try to teach like that. The teacher's role in P4C program is to help generate ideas in Socrates' manner of posing a stream of questions, helping others find the truth on their own. Therefore, teachers in such a program must have some philosophical background. And Ibn Sina did. He was philosopher, logician, and many other things. And I think he should thought about program for children like that. But then teacher should have this background and the knowledge in developing children. Play also has a very important role in this program. It's indeed the most important factor through which children, I have to finish, okay? Yeah. It's around. Okay. So finally, Ibn Sina may not have put forward an explicit theory of children like this contemporary P4C, considering the special nature of Islam in his time. But as ingenious philosopher and logician, first and foremost, he must have noticed the importance of introducing philosophy and critical thinking into the education system. And I have to finish. I'm so sorry, but the last questions for all of us, could it be that Ibn Sina theory concerning the education of children on sound foundations as prescore of P4C of today? Thank you. I'm sorry for your patience.
Thank you very much, Professor Hoda Al Khouly, for this very good presentation about philosophy for children. I mean, contextualizing in our time, getting inspiration from Ibn Sina. I think we have a lot to learn from him. We have, of course, another panel starting at 11 o'clock. However, it's not fair unless we have some questions for the panelists, maybe 2 or 3 questions in 10 minutes time. Do we have microphone?
Do you have microphone?
Sure, alalım mikrofon varsa. Yes. Here. Coming back, one by one. Thank you.
Thank you, the panelists. I enjoyed the talks very much. The time is tight. I just wanted to ask Hoda if you could elaborate on this significance of Ibn Sina for educating children now. You know, all of the conditions that you introduced, all the things that children ought to engage in were kind of theoretical reasoning, critical thinking, examining questions, in a sort of very cognitive, but you know, Plato and also Ibn Sina in some ways talk about how we need to balance the soul, right? The vegetative, not the vegetative, but the appetites, the passions, and reasoning, and through a kind of virtue training. Is it something that P4C or you know, scholars nowadays think about, this kind of training in
Balancing.
Yeah, balancing the soul. Thank you.
Yes. No, you just answer, please.
you. No, actually, there is nothing exactly like that. In the program of P4C, you never teach children things like the traditional style of teaching, psychology or philosophy or program like that. But you work with them from a myth, poem, history, discuss one thing and then make them asking. The main point in this program is to learn to ask and never arrive for one answer. Yes, but we talk about 4 to 7 years old. What do you mean with desire exactly? Angry and so on, yes. This is the role of teacher in the class.
I think he has a very valid question considering the time in which we are living, because we have a lot of obesities. And if this training that we learn from our masters, philosophers, how to discipline your appetites, control yourself, even if you start teaching them at the early age, I think we will make a good progress. And do you see, for example, in this new pedagogical, milieu or context, are they teaching this kind of balancing body and soul and disciplining and controlling your appetites? This is what he's asking, I think.
That's what he's asking
Yeah.
for.
Do we have in today's modern...
In this program, in P4C, no, I don't know it, at least for me.
Thank you very much. Hocam, shall I give first? All right. Yes, sir.
Sure. Thank you to all the panelists for the wonderful presentation. So I have two sets of questions. So I'd like to begin with Dr. Hoda Al.
If you spare one, maybe for the sake of others to answer.
Sure. So your talk was very relevant to, in fact, your talk is very relevant to a course that I'm teaching currently. So I was discussing in my class the other day about, so Gen Z, Generation Z, the late... Can you hear me well?
No, I can't hear. It's not clear.
Yes, now it's okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So I'm saying your talk was very relevant to some discussions that I was having with my students last week about mental health issues that children are experiencing today. Sorry?
I didn't listen. Mental health, okay.
So there's a psychologist, Jonathan Haidt. He argues that during the last few decades, there are some major transformations that took place through technology, especially with the iPhone and the social media and features within social media. So gradually what happened is that when it comes to children, there is a transition from a more play-based childhood to a phone-based childhood. So Ibn Sina was talking about, when we were young, the necessity of developing skills through exercises, through meeting with other people. But nowadays, if you look at the statistics, most kids spend their time online, through apps and so forth. So I wonder if you have any insights from Ibn Sina about this, the fact that things are getting virtual. And then relatedly, when you also highlighted the role of teacher, which I definitely agree with. But then again, with AI, people are talking about having artificial intelligence teachers, because you can create a virtual Aristotle, Plato, then why even go to ordinary teachers? Yeah. So how do you address that challenge? And secondly, when it comes to these concepts of critical thinking, IQ, et cetera, I wonder Ibn Sina would agree with the definitions of intelligence that we have today.
Yeah,
How do we define intelligence? Because is it simply computational skills? For Avicenna, it's very clear. It's about bringing into actuality your potential intellect. Bringing your potential intellect into actuality, aql bil mustafad, right? So given all of this, where do you stand?
Thank you for what you say, but I'm starting learning Ibn Sina since 2 years. So I'm not professional in Ibn Sina. I try to make him philosopher for children, And I don't know if I am right. So, and I agree with you.
Okay,
Yes,
and okay, Hilman?
Okay, just a quick question and one comment. To Dr. Rayane, it's very interesting that you relate apples of Joyce's principle of plenitude to Sühreverdi'nin degrees of existence and being. My question is concerning his principle of plenitude, which I'm not sure whether you stated in your paper, but it is not a
principle that we accept as axiom. It is a claim which has no proof. And therefore, when you want to use this to assert God's existence and also the best of possible worlds, we need to at least address some of the criticism of it. Why is it necessary for anything that is contingent to be actualized? Even Aristotle criticized this principle, I think. So that's one thing. And okay, I have to be quick.
One question would be enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll talk after.
Yeah. If you have more questions during the coffee break, by all means, you can address your questions to the... Yeah. Huh.
Thank you for...
Let him answer first.
Microphone.
Can you hear me? Okay. You are totally right that the principle of plenitude is a way to rationalize how we experience the world. And that's true that it is not something that it is explicitly claimed by Sühreverdi, but it is an assumption. If we took Lovejoy seriously, he finds it into Spinoza and is reading back to Plato. So it is a big discussion here that if it is applicable to Plato, for sure it is, for me, applicable to Neoplatonism. And it is a way to explain the existence of all the world and the structure. And if you have simply the fact that his existence is correlated with the world, and in fact in the comments of Plato, the viewers looking at the Torah want to make the perfect world possible by looking at the idea of the good, and the idea of the good commands him to actualize what can be existence, and if it can be, it has to be actualized. So that would be the answer I would give you.
جعل من القصة الأولى مستوى عالي في الفلسفة وظاهر الفرعون. أول علم كان جاري في الفلسفة آنذاك. هلا ابن سينا لم يعتقد أن يجعل هذا في متناول الأطفال، لكن مع التزامن صارت القصة في قصة على أسطورة عند أفلاطون، إذ أفلاطون هو نفسه يعوض لما تعجز الفلسفة عن العبارة بتعويض هذه الأسطورة في متناول الجميع.
شكرا أستاذي على هذه الإضافة الرائعة. وبالفعل أنا أتحدث العربية. Sorry for Arabic. وأفلاطون بالفعل يعني يلجأ إلى الأسطورة عندما يسلم المنطق أسلحته. ويعني أنا لي عمل كثير في الأساطير الأفلاطونية وهي تعبر أكثر عن الفلسفة. ربما الأسطورة تحمل فلسفة أعمق من الكلام المنطوق. شكرا جزيلا أستاذ.
Okay. I think we have, if you don't mind, we have to conclude. Those two professors are, the person who took Okay, that's the last question. Professor Alparslan. Thank you. Very short comment and one question. The comment is in many conferences on education in Turkey, I always suggest that you should follow the education model of Medreselinden because it's very well explained. But details are not given, unfortunately.
Right. I need details.
So that is what we need. And as you said, this whole education, he starts this education with the Quran.
Yes.
But why? You see, because actually this is the educational model that was started by the Prophet with the Sufa, because he always taught the Quran, and the educational model in the Quran, Islamic history, everywhere, without any exception, starting with the Quran.
Yes, I said that.
Yes, that is why I wanted to emphasize that. So, exactly, so I would like to thank you very much to bring this up again. And then this is what should be taken as a model by the Muslim model.
And he says, as you remember in the autobiography, that they completed the Quran education when he was 10 years old, which means actually he became Hafiz when he was 10 years old.
But then he says,
he continued with, in Arabic, Kutub min al-Adab. That is not very clear. So this is extremely important, so that's why I said, if we do research, maybe we can find out, so I want to ask that.
Some kind of poem in Arabic as that.
Yeah. I think,
Siva says that after Quran you have to...
so right after committing the entire of the Quran to his memory, part of learning, he says, I think which is an inclusive term, like a ballet, literature, language, and also maybe manners, morality, as a comprehensive term. So I don't think we can confine it to one dimension. Yeah. So it need to be further researched, elaborated. Thank you. One, okay, last. Okay, I'll start. Fatma Zehra''s question coming to you. Sorusu geliyor ben.
I want
to ask you a question.
so you had a chance. Ibn Kamuna knew of Maimonides' works from Egypt, and did he read the guide, and is there considerable influence of the
Guide on his work.
and did he write biblical commentaries in Hebrew?
Yes. İbn-i Kemunen, Hüseyin bin Meymun, yani hiç okudu mu? Onun işte Delail'in o kitabı okudu mu? Onun bir tesiri var mı? diye soruyor. Çalışması var mı konuyla ilgili?
Hocam Bayım'ın atıfları var zaten. Özellikle Tenkül Epas'ta biz İbn-i Kemunen'in kendi dininin ne olduğunu daha iyi anlıyoruz. Diğer eserlerine baktığımızda Yahudi asıllı olduğunu aslında çok anlayamıyoruz. Sebebi de kitaplarının girişinde işte hep halvele, salvele, Peygamber Efendimiz'e selat ve selamla başlıyor vesaire. Dolayısıyla bunları görerek onun da son dönemlerde Müslüman olduğunu falan söyleyenler var ama Tenkihül Efpas okunduğunda onun özellikle İslam peygamberiyle ilgili yaptığı yorumlarda ve bir kişinin niye Müslümanlığı tercih etmesi gerektiğini, yani etmemesi gerektiğini, daha doğru bir seçim olacağına dair yaptığı yorumlarda onun Yahudiliği tercih ettiğini biliyoruz. Ama hani ne denir Allahu alem. Ama Maimonides'le evet ondan birkaç atıfı var. Evet.
Üstad, okay, you can switch off the mikrofonu kapatır mısınız? Ben izah edeyim. Üstad Terem, she's explaining, as you know, yes, Ibn Kemune had interaction with Maimonides, and we know he's coming from of Jewish stock, Jewish background. But in his own writings, also we notice there is like a salutation to the Prophet and beginning with praising God, and as if he was converted to Islam. But towards the end of his life, and once he was questioned why he did not embrace Islam, or he has given own reasons why he did not convert to Islam. So we know he is coming from a Jewish background. And but he has also some comments about the Prophet Muhammad, and he has reasons for not, doing his conversion to Islam. So yes, he had interaction and with Maimonides and influence by Maimonides as well. Yeah.
Teşekkür ederim.
Teşekkür ederim. Efendim, please join me giving them an applause for this wonderful panel, and we will be back at 11. Now time for coffee and tea. Çay ve kahve molası efendim.
Saygıdeğer hocalarımıza bizler de çok teşekkür ediyoruz değerli katkıları için. Programa 15 dakika ara veriyoruz. Bir sonraki oturum 11'de başlayacaktır.